Welcome to the Creative Plan Podcast Network. Join us as we share our favorite RPGs, one-shot games, tabletop games, reviews of items, and convention panels, and other exciting things that we run into from time to time. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Kelly, aka Trixie from Ragnarok and Roll, assigned to Ragnarok Story, and Tilda Wimblewick from D&D Journey of the 5th Edition. First off, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for listening to our varied adventures, as well as for rating us on iTunes and rpgpodcast.com. If you haven't rated us yet, we would greatly appreciate it if you could. And if you're looking for more ways to support our efforts, we are now on Patreon, a great site where you can help us continue making more podcasts, as well as some special surprises for our patrons. If you can, please look us up at www.patreon.com/cppn. Every little bit helps. And again, thank you for listening.
Yeah. So we're gonna basically, give you guys a little bit of information about ourselves, and then from there, really leave it open to you to find out exactly what you want from us. Otherwise we'll just mammer on forever.
Right.
So we'll keep it short and sweet and all those important things. But I am Ginger from Midnight Orchid Design. I've been in business for over 10 years, a hobbyist for about 5 of it, and going strong for 6 to 7 actually. Started as a seamstress at the age of 9, won my first competition at 11 as a Civil War stitch counter seamstress, and then I morphed into belly dancer, because I'm also a professional belly dancer on the side, and got pulled into the steampunk world and met all these lovely humans that are part of my journey. So
I'm Tony. I am with Mad Etcha. I do freehand glass engraving. I started about 20 years ago. Somebody had left a Dremel in our house, and I started flipping through the pages, looking at all the wonderful things you can do. And then I noticed, why do we throw out glass when I can just doodle on it and make it pretty? Thus began my adventure. I've been in business for about 10 years, and it's been great. I am also a chronic dabbler, so I do a lot of other stuff too, but it has been a heck of a journey and a lot of fun. And yeah.
Yay!
She's so much more than that.
My name is Shannon. I'm the owner-operator weirdo of Unclaimed Treasures. I specialize in resin-sealed bone jewelry and electroforming. Just super fun, mad sciencey, steampunk stuff. It's great. Probably been committed, hardcore, real business. Mostly profitable for about 5-ish years, but creative and dabbling for years and years before that, so it's exciting to feel it come to fruition. I'm incredibly blessed to have met these ladies on my journey, and again, we're here to talk about how we support each other, and I'm so grateful for their support, so I love you guys. Okay.
I'm Danielle. I own Earthly Leather Design, and I also co-own Axe and Bear Trading. I'm a second-generation leather worker. My dad, he does motorcycle stuff, so I kind of learned my basics from him. We've been doing the leather business for 10 years, but I've been doing leather my whole life, like out of the womb. It was like Pam's belt. And then about 5-ish years ago, we started Axe and Bear Trading, which is we sell like fur and taxidermy and bones, and then I create bone art also, which we'll be doing the
Curiosity Cabinet in a Jar workshop
later today around 4 if you would like to sign up for that also. It's pretty quick. Yeah. I've been friends with Ginger for 10 plus years. I've known Tony for 5 and Shannon probably about the same. Yeah. So we're really like 20.
I think we're closer to 20 because, I've been doing that other part of our world for 25 now. So we've known each other for about 20 years.
time, y'all.
Long
We're getting old.
No, don't tell anybody.
More wrinkle cream.
Y'all are good. Age is just a number.
So I think the goal of this panel was for us to be able to share information on how we collaborate and how we help each other succeed, and we also just think we're really fun people to hang out with. So.
Well, we traveled from Virginia, New Jersey, Virginia,
New York.
Pennsylvania.
Sorry, New
I'm
York.
sorry, New York. Sorry.
don't
She's
mess
gonna
that
kill me
one
later. So we're the whole way on the other side of the planet here.
Yeah.
And so just to let you know, we couldn't be here without all
each
of us
other.
doing
Yes.
that.
Yeah. And that was one of the big things is when we made this decision to come out here was how could we collaborate together, Tony did a wonderful job of facilitating, getting our booth spaces set up, and being able to plan all of it together so that we could blend together, make the most of the amount of space that we had to work with and be able to drive 2,000 miles across the country to be here for multiple different states. So that was a big
7
journey.
people, 3 cars.
Yes. One mission. Bubba, let's go.
Coming to Netflix 2023.
So just start off with, we'll let you do questions.
Yeah, anybody have a question?
We'll just talk at y'all, but if you've got questions,
Yeah, please.
So how did you convert from like hobby or just kind of doing this and voice it to actually like I'm some business that this is put on the table?
Yeah. I'm full-time.
Yeah.
Ginger's full-time.
Well, I am now.
Yeah.
So how I went from hobbyist was I'm an interior designer and a construction worker in my used to be.
she
in
does
my
great
world.
kitchens.
Yes. But that was my full-time job. And I've been sewing since I was a kid. It was just something that always existed in my background. And as things fell apart, businesses that I was working for discovered that working for other people was not fun anymore. And I ended up with a situation a couple years ago where actually I almost had a heart attack. And I was given 6 months to figure out what to do with my life. I had just enough income coming in, and I was like, all right, let's see if I can bring this business to fruition. And I signed up for a couple guest spots with PA Ren Fair. And did I drag you along the first year?
Not first year.
Okay.
First year.
Oh, that's right. No, I partnered with my brother who actually builds yurts, which is how I had a tent to do it.
Collaboration.
So, yes, collaboration. You have to have one with the other to survive. I went in for 2 weekends. Their vendor coordinator actually insisted on me staying for the rest of the run. And with that, I was able to, rebuild my house and literally start my business.
And then
So-
that's how I got my foot in the door at PA Ren Fair, because she told the vendor coordinator, like, well, you need her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got in. And then Shannon jumped in with Ginger there, and Tony just started vending with me last year, because I bought 2 buildings. She helps me run one.
So I think PA Ren Fair was kind of like where the 4 of us really came together.
But we did like cogs. And
I
think
think
the World's Fair, because that
Are we
was
allowed
really
to talk about that one? I think for me, one of the biggest, so I was shopping Ginger's clothing booth at Steampunk World's Fair, because she's amazing. If you haven't seen her clothes, come visit. But we just kind of hit it off and became friends, and we have an overlap in another social circle, which was kind of cool. We got to know each other and became friends. And it was, maybe feels like a little bit of an awkward conversation, but I feel like that's where growth comes from a lot of times, is pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone. It was sort of like hey, you do clothes, I make jewelry, like, what are the chances I could come and help you at an event and maybe bring some pieces, would that be something you're interested in? And I've had a couple of other people tell me that's not really my jam, or the event I've applied to, they won't let me, I can only sell what I'm making, and that's totally get that. But that's kind of what blossomed from this, me pushing myself a little bit and Ginger being receptive to trying something new. And now I'm gonna say 75% of the events that we do, we're doing together. We, are able to offer more to the events that we're going to. We've got Bill. Not even halfway through this beer. Not even halfway. Built-in booth help. There we go. Good job, sis.
What was that?
Built-in booth help. Which is great. I think a lot of big events have wonderful volunteers, if you need a pee break, but it's also just beautiful to have somebody to help with. So sometimes
to answer his question, since Shannon's talking,
Yeah.
he wants to know how you transitioned from regular
It was
muggle job
to
to where you're at now.
Once we had done a couple of events together and things started to grow, again, I don't think I would be, this is probably the first year that I don't have a muggle job, which is scary because we're still going through a pandemic, right? But again, I'm able to do events that I wouldn't be able to do on my own because I have these amazing support systems. So it really started from being willing and ready to work with other people and then continuing to push through. And I know that sounds a little cliche, but I do think that that growth is
being successful,
possible.
having the support of others is a huge part of it. You know?
I wouldn't be here if it was just me trying to do it.
So when you talk about the collaboration, I mean, there's some of it. You talk the logistics of getting you guys together, getting stuff planned, getting stuff mapped out. Maybe, but is there a collaboration of your media that you work with?
Sometimes, yeah. We all when we're all together, we'll dress mannequins. So.
Okay.
Ginger will put the outfit on, and then she'll do the jewelry, and I'll do the accessories, and then we'll work Tony in there, whatever she's got at that time.
Or accessories.
Yes. Me and Ginger actually, she was doing an outfit for somebody, and I helped her. What was it?
It was the Xena outfit. Is that the one you're talking about?
Well, the Xena outfit, but the ogre guy.
Sounds cool. Oh yeah.
So she was making clothing, and I kind of helped her with the leather materials and getting that together for him.
Because sometimes, I always say, I'd love to have time to learn how to crochet. I don't need another hobby like I need a hole in my hand. I would rather find somebody else. And you're good at it. I don't know how to etch glass. I would rather take this beautiful piece I'm working into something and be like, you know what, Tony, let me pay you for your time. Okay. I think another big thing that we do to help each other in the collaboration side, we're constantly looking for materials for each other.
Yeah.
That is
huge part of it.
Huge.
Yeah.
We're searching for glasswork for Tony all the time. All of us go wandering through the woods and find dead things for these two. And they're always hunting fabrics for me.
Right.
So it's kind of nice because you've got a bigger spider web, a bigger network, constantly looking in different places you may not be in.
Another big part of it too is being able to discuss with other vendors, what shows are good to sell at and what shows aren't.
Huge.
There's a lot of vendors where you have repeat vendors. You might have 5 or 6 different leather vendors at the same event, and if you have other people that have done that event, they can come back to you and say, well, you know what, there's this one, and this one. This other event might be a better suit for you, since there's less vendors along your lines there.
Absolutely.
And it becomes a lot of information swapping, which is critical to really getting your stuff out there.
The technological websites, computer, your accounting software stuff.
I mostly do I do online promotion. We use GoDaddy for Earthly Leather Design, and we go through Square for Axe and Bear. So
Is that
I don't.
Expensive?
No, GoDaddy's like $50 a month, and
That's
Square.
expensive.
A month?
Yes, but I have a whole bunch of extra things.
You must.
Yeah. I have my domain name and stuff like that.
Expected.
My husband actually deals with the technological side because I want to make things.
Bluehost would be another less expensive.
But
The thing I've got is, I don't make stuff fast enough to be a vendor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm more of I do it on commission.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is where this would be useful for you. So you want to make friends with somebody that does not the same type of work, but that'll mesh well, that'll complement you. So me and Ginger, all of us share a tent often, and we set it up so it all goes together. So you want to find somebody you can blend in with, but you're different and not crossing over each other.
What is your medium?
Yeah.
Yes. Inquiring minds want to know.
Okay. So that would be something I would be interested in carrying because I don't make it.
This, it won honorable mention at the Iowa State Fair.
Yeah.
My steampunk plague doctor mask won blue ribbon.
Oh, fantastic. That's awesome.
When pandemics struck,
Yes.
I've been dabbling, doing eye patch workshops
Right.
and little things like that.
Yeah.
And it's I'm retired.
Right.
So I didn't get started until I was doing any of this until I was just shy of my 60th birthday.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
this is 10 years.
Cool.
Yeah, that's
Fantastic.
I do the steampunk Pope and the Irish Pope. So I end up going to the Ren fairs, although I'm getting too old for this shit.
I mean, I
Set
know
up
I say
and
that
tear
every
down.
day.
Set up and tear down is, especially on Sunday,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I cannot move. And you want me to tear it all down, pack it up, load it up? Ain't happening. I need a road crew.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah.
But I started doing leather stuff more and more. And I had done a plague doctor mask and put a picture up.
Yeah.
And oh my God. And I have friends who wear glasses and they said, well, I can't wear a plague doctor mask.
Right.
Because I can't see
Seems
without
like
my
right,
glasses.
yeah.
I can't wear my... So I redesigned the plague doctor mask for the half mask.
Okay.
My other mask is a pink flamingo.
Got me there.
Excellent,
Got me fancy.
excellent.
Yeah, like finding someone in your area that
And
would be
so-
interested and usually like I charge 20 to 30% commission. So like if Ginger takes my bag, she gets 20% of whatever she sells.
Okay.
You know, so that's how we work that when like she goes to a show and I don't, or I go and I take some of her
So
stuff.
back to the social media and
Right.
yeah, how do you
Oh.
handle that for yourself and your business?
They give me crap because I'm like, social media. They're like, we don't have time to post pictures. And I'm like, do the things. But it's, I think it's, I'm trying to keep this brief. Lasers.
Sorry, it's a joke.
It's been like the past couple of years have been a fascinating journey as far as like social media promotion and sales because we lost so many live events and we're kind of slowly creeping back into them, which is amazing, but there's still plenty of struggle from a maker perspective there.
Yeah.
But I think it's been kind of an interesting journey to like learn how to social media in a pandemic
Okay,
because
when they talk about social media, the
yeah,
only
so
thing that I think of is Facebook.
Facebook,
Instagram,
Instagram, the TikTok,
the TikTok,
Google.
Twitter.
Actually,
Google.
I
You
survived
can't be
because of Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, I just joined every group that had the word bone or leather in it, and I spent my days sitting at the sewing machine, posting and sewing and trying to get orders, and so yeah.
Because everybody was online.
Yeah, everybody's online,
Yeah.
so that's where you had to be.
But I think I did a little bit in 2020, a little bit of research. Like there are some of them you have to pay for, so it's a budget and how much do you want to spend on like learning how to promote on the internet, and like there are articles written about how to get your algorithms higher, and I spent a little bit of time reading and silly things that maybe I hadn't thought of before. Something like 68% of the people who comment and like on my Instagram posts are based in California. That's super cool. I'm in Virginia. That's a 3-hour time difference. So if I post something at 9 a.m. my time, thinking people are at their desks, they're bored at work, like they're sipping their coffee, they're just scrolling. It's 6 a.m., right? Did I get that right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. I was like, hold on real quick. It's 6 a.m. in California. Like, those kids aren't even awake yet, I don't think, right? Maybe. Yeah, right. Thank you. Right? There we go. We're here then. Yeah. So like, by the time they're up and scrolling Instagram, my hashtag game might be really strong, but by the time they're scrolling, my post might be buried. So, it was a lot of that kind of learning. And Instagram, I think everybody here probably has a different social media favorite platform. I really like Instagram because I'm very visual, so I love the photos. And
I think overall Instagram is better at getting your post out there.
I agree.
And it does a really good job of automatically filtering into your Facebook page.
Yes.
You can set it up to go to a bunch of different media directions at the
it
same
has
time.
links.
So one post and done, because I'm lazy.
She's not lazy. She's busy. There's a difference.
And I don't pay for a ton of advertising.
I don't pay
Maybe
for
around
advertising.
Christmas I'll do some Google ads, but mostly it's all just doing
What
it
does
yourself.
your budget look like for that? I'm curious.
Advertising?
Like when you, I'm sorry, how do I?
When I do it?
Like when I do, I have, again, during the pandemic, I was like, well, let's see
Right.
how much an ad costs. And Instagram has
I
a
would-
neat little feature
yeah.
where you can set how much you want to spend.
And what I'll do is I'll start with $10.
Yeah.
for a week span just to see what it gets.
Yeah.
And if it brings in enough, I'll up that budget.
So
So like if I post an ad and it only spends $1 in a week, it's obviously a bad ad and I need to try again.
I think there's a lot of really neat tools out there for experimenting.
Do you all have your own websites?
Yes.
Yes, I do not have a website.
You do not?
Oh, do not.
I do not either.
I was like,
I
okay.
have a Facebook page that I primarily use as a
Okay.
gallery.
Yeah.
I don't make the same thing twice. So running a website becomes very difficult when you're trying to remember, okay, what sold, what didn't sell, what do I have to take pictures of, what do I need to post?
Yeah.
So a gallery becomes a little easier for me. If anybody is interested in something or wants a custom piece, they can contact me directly. But for the most part, my sales are all in person, which
So
is
you use the
kind of
photo album on your Facebook page?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm in the right direction then.
Yeah.
So wait, do you have an Etsy?
So for me, I do have Etsy, Facebook, and then I have a WordPress-based, actual website. One of the advantages of the WordPress site is that, one, I'm horrible at this stuff. I am not the social media guru in my household. I'm actually having to hire somebody this year just because I don't have time because I need to be in front of a sewing machine. And two, every 6 months they're updating something and I have to go in and relearn how to create the post. But the WordPress site for me is a pretty easy point and click. It also has the ability to attach my entire Facebook gallery, Etsy gallery to it. So you can actually scroll to the bottom of my WordPress site and everything from my Etsy site that I have listed currently is right there. You can click on it and it'll take you to the Etsy site and you can purchase. Nice. I have the same problem that Tony does. A lot of my items are upcycled one of a kind. So if you think 10 photos times 500 pieces, I'd rather be sewing. I really would. A lot of my clients are repeat. I actually spend no money on advertising. I'm completely word of mouth. So during the pandemic, that was rough. I mean, everything was online and I don't do well.
Posting, sharing,
yes,
pushing,
we're huge
like
for sharing each other.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people like to touch my pieces. You can't do that during a pandemic. So I honestly, I was resilient for a long time and got talked into doing face masks because our local distillery was not allowed to open to make sanitizer without face masks and they couldn't get them. So I got talked into that, and then through that, I handled a couple local things, and then that turned into, I ended up with a Whole Foods account. So I was actually handling 6 different Whole Foods worth of masks for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I was
You did like a little commercial and
I
everything.
did a commercial. It was weird.
She had a post-it wall.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing that was important too, because on top of it, I was keeping myself fully isolated, but I was also sending packages out to everybody. And I'm talking, Whole Foods would need 500 in 3 days. There was a couple nights I just did not sleep. But my post-it wall, which was my entire ceiling, was every single package and the time that it left and where it went. Because if something happened and one of my clients ended up sick, I could look at the wall and go, okay, that day I shipped to these people and I need to contact them. Thank God that didn't happen, but it was an insanely impressive thing to look at because it wasn't on my list of things to do. But again, adaptability is a huge thing as a business owner in this day and age. It
But
really
also
is.
that's like just from a social media perspective, like you I'm not trying to say you
I
didn't do
know,
any
like-
work. You did a shit ton of work.
Yeah.
I remember the nights you weren't sleeping.
Yeah.
But it was like, you've got Whole
Yeah.
Foods promoting
Yeah.
this maker, and it's like,
And it was a
can't
really-
ask for a better business partner there.
And it was a neat experience because it was the first time for me that my social actually looking at my Etsy site and it was like rated top on this site and on this and this, and I'm like, all because of face masks. They weren't looking at any of my other beautiful clothing. It was about face masks. But it was an interesting again experience just to understand.
Yeah, that's kind of what launched me was the first face mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put a plague doctor mask up and somebody goes, ooh, I want one.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also do, we up until this year, because I've packed my show schedule so hard, we usually do custom orders only. So you could go to the website, you pick your belt, your bag, your bug frog, your skirt hikes, whatever you're getting. And then you can pick your pattern and then your color. And then, so you can just do online sales through Etsy and just do custom.
Does Etsy charge percentage?
Okay, so Etsy has got.
Here we go.
Swimming in this is
30
we
have
actually.
Do you have an
quit.
Etsy page? And I
We
don't.
quit
I
Etsy.
do not.
I send everybody to
I
my
do.
Facebook
Yeah.
photo album.
And this is
lot.
why.
Yeah.
After you hit
Not going
$10,000 on Etsy, they put you into a program that you have no choice but to advertise, and they take 30%
Oh, wow.
of your
Okay.
sale.
I'm
So we have quit Etsy because we pulled such high numbers on there, but it also sucks because we pulled such high numbers on there. So I've basically gone to shows again because we pull more money in that way, and Square's only 4%.
No, it's under three.
Is it 3%?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the least expensive that's out there, and the system is supported really well.
Etsy was wonderful in the beginning, and as soon as
It
they
sounds
went
like
public,
Square's actually cheaper than PayPal.
yeah,
Yes.
it is.
It is.
It is.
It
and,
is.
and they're easier to
Do we all use Square?
Yes.
We all- so we're all
Yes.
Square fans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
Square.
Oh, you're Square.
Square, it's a point of sale.
Yeah.
Like a little box on their phone.
Well,
Yeah.
and
I was gonna say, did I tell you?
I know. Okay,
Da, 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 da.
I have this one on
toys
me.
if you want to come to the
Yeah,
but they
so
have like a full.
This is one of the great
register.
advantages of Square.
Now that you
literally
can invest
is like
in.
now I'm a registrar.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
if you go to a Ren Fair, those are everywhere.
Yes.
Alright.
Yeah, but it also at Ren Fairs,
We've
we've
upgraded
we've
to
all
the
upgraded
actual
to
checkout
actual
system.
checkout
I mean,
systems.
it's definitely an investment. But you know, I think you've gotten to a point
Well,
where this is.
and back to
We create
Yeah.
scan codes. So at Ren Fair, Tony can run the register and just scan people out, and there's no
That's fancy.
how much is this? What is that? Like, yeah. Oh, sorry.
What about first starting out? Because like I was looking at like Etsy because it seems pretty easy to get in, and they help you with like your tax information. So I thought that was a plus, but the whole fee thing is kind of like if you're
Right.
really just trying to like get your foundation going.
It's great for that, but once you're established, because like I told him about the ad thing, and like they take 30% of your sale. So now
You
you're
probably put
losing.
it around like the 1,000-ish mark, and then you're
Yeah.
on.
Once you hit 10,000, your Etsy owns everything else.
Just like you do the
There's-
business license and the tax information and all that together before starting out, just like, I'm right.
Well, and I
And
was saying,
Square does that too, and you can build a website through Square.
yes.
Okay.
I can't remember how much it is a month.
Yeah.
But it is extra.
And I know that another important thing that's helpful for me with Square is it automatically gives you all of your paperwork at the end of the year to be able to
Yeah.
hand to your accountants to
Square
take
does
care
that,
of.
PayPal does
It's-
that, Etsy does that.
Yeah.
That's all I deal with, I think.
When I left Etsy because I wasn't a big fan.
Words.
I got mad when
Um,
it stopped being all handmade too. There's a
Yeah.
lot of
Sure.
overseas sellers that weren't there when they were privately owned.
Yeah.
I felt like every month I was having to adapt to a new system, and I was getting frustrated. Plus, they did start, and I know you guys are dealing with this a little bit too. They started getting a little funky. Like we work with animal bones, and you know,
the rules kept changing.
the rules kept
adding
changing, and I was
things.
getting frustrated. So I did a little bit of research. There are actually, I think Etsy is probably still like the prime monster beast that everybody's
Right.
familiar with, but there are actually a lot of really cool other platforms. I now use Big Cartel, and I'm very happy with it. It's a much simplified version, but that's kind of
It
what
was
I
probably
wanted.
Etsy when it started.
It's
probably very
and
similar.
it still helps me with tax stuff, but on a less, I still pay somebody to help me. I'm not good with numbers. You pay somebody for that. But it's, a monthly plan. I think my plan is kind of one of the medium ones. There is a free option that just only allows you to list a few items. But, if you're doing custom pieces, that might be perfect, because you can have the option to add customizable things to each item. So it still has a lot of the features that Etsy does. I think my plan is like $10 a month, which, for $120 a year to have that platform. And yeah, there might be months where I'm like, well, crap, I only got a couple sales, so maybe it didn't quite justify it. But again, having that platform that when I'm applying to an event and be like, here's my Big Cartel page. Like, if you didn't want to scroll through my Instagram, like, this is a good representation of me.
And some events only accept a full website. I've actually been to a couple events that are like, if you do not have an actual website, they won't bring you on as a vendor. So those are things that are important to look into. Things you run into.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned something in reference to I'm a sole proprietor. Are you trying to LLC? Or are you trying to?
I was trying to figure that out, but it's a little like when you're trying to get a business license, it's like there's like 10 different terms, and I'm like, okay, I gotta pick the state.
You can start as a sole proprietor, which is where you should start,
Yes.
and then once you get big, that's when you want to hit that LLC.
So I was gonna say, can we go down the road here? What are all of us?
I'm currently a sole proprietorship. We're looking into an LLC because the LLC protects your stuff more. So if someone is in my booth at Parf, I have an insurance plan, but like if they get super hurt, they can go after everything I own.
Yeah.
The LLC, they can only get the business.
Yeah.
So that's the pros and cons.
Yeah.
So Unclaimed Treasures is sole proprietor. Like my just because I've done both sides. My husband and I have an LLC. We host a fireworks retreat. So like we had to be real careful with like insurance and stuff. So we specifically did an LLC for that business so that if someone came after us, we would be protected. There's a wall there. So it's depending on what you're doing.
Okay.
Like
I do freelance entertainer stuff too. That's why I was debating. The business
girl.
Right. Like an LLC one, which one more.
Yeah, if you're an entertainer, you may want to look at the LLC a little deeper.
And there's rotate.
I'm also sole proprietor. Yeah. But I don't do nearly as many shows as the rest of these lovely ladies.
We're trying.
Yes.
We're working on
Tony,
it.
we're going.
We're working on it.
We're
We're wearing
wearing
her
down.
But yeah, on that sense, there's a couple other tidbits and ways to work around the entertainment factor. If you are a weird tip I learned years ago is if you're actually not physically accepting money, your house or your household insurance for $12 will actually cover you as an entertainer. So if you burn somebody's entire tent down, it is covered for $12. You just didn't accept any money. It was a weird loophole from years ago. But generally, a lot of times your policies through your own insurance company, and you can even do it through your car insurance company. I have everything through State Farm currently. They handle both my car, my trailer, my business, and my household. It's all separated out.
Here's
in
the
varying
funny
ways.
thing: State Farm covered her
Building.
Red Fair building, but they wouldn't cover mine.
Yeah.
So I had to go to Erie Insurance near Fair because they were like, "We don't do that." I'm like, "I know you do."
Yeah. One of the big things that was is helpful with that, especially starting out, is you don't have to get a year policy. You can actually talk to your insurance company about like, hey, I'm going to be at this event and I need to be covered for this. For example, PA Ren Fair is $1 million minimum policy. Right. We have to have $1 million on our booths just to cover our butts. I think I'm actually 1.5 because it also covers the business. So if the entire thing burns down, I'm at least getting something. Really, it's not as much as you think. But the point is you do have the ability to find a good insurance company that will
find a good agent,
compartmentalize it for you.
Like, who's your car insurance with?
Shoot, I forgot.
Whoever that company is,
call them.
It's a phone call or an email. Be like, hey, I am looking into this. Like, it's like that whole who does the bundle thing? Progressive. They do all those like bundle commercials. Well, they're only talking about boats and RVs because that's what like normal Americans are doing. The rest of us are trying to bundle other things. But those do exist in the real world. They're not advertised, because we're not voting on them.
And I remember doing it early on, and it really would be like $40 to $100 depending on the type of show that you were doing, instead of looking at like, oh God, what am I spending now?
Mine's stupid cheap for the year.
I think I'm at $3,000 a year for everything.
With the park buildings.
Yeah, with the park buildings and everything. Yeah, but we've grown that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I started, it was like maybe $500 for the year. It was like $50 a month because I didn't own anything yet. I was basically covering my trailer and my stock. Mm-hmm. So if something happened on the road, all that would be covered. And as I grew, so did my insurance policy.
Okay, this is confusing because I know a lot of people that figure out their own businesses. It feels like something like kind of like you put on a blindfold, you throw the dart at the board, and then you try to figure it out from there.
Yeah.
No, last thing, my dad owns a business.
Okay.
He owns a motorcycle business. He's been doing that. He started out at county fairs and then fell into motorcycle stuff, and now he has the shop that's been open for, I'm 39, so 36 years. But the one thing he told me when I started is do your own paperwork. Know where your money's going.
Yes.
You know, what you have left. Because, you know, having an accountant know that and not you hurts your business. And then once you
don't
establish
use a family member. Do not
use a family
Oh,
member.
yeah,
Do not use a family member. They don't need to know the money you're making.
Yeah.
I tell mine I'm poor.
Really, it'll just like one key or one fine or something didn't go quite right, then there goes your finance.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. You want to know where your money's going and making sure it's not going in someone else's pocket.
So, do you have a formula for pricing?
Yes.
I do. Yes.
We all do, yeah.
Yeah.
I
We're all a
do
little
materials, time, and it depends on what I'm making to whether I double it or at 30% or, you know, you want to keep things reasonable so people can still buy them.
Yeah, I can put a $600 price tag on some of the stuff that I do.
Yeah.
And it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
You have to find that person.
you gotta find that one person who's willing to pay $600.
Yeah. So the actual like documented formula that's out there is times 4. So you take the cost of your materials, time, etc. Let's say that number is $10, and then you times it by 4. So $10 is your materials, $10 is your insurance, overhead, etc. $10 is taxes. So now it's a $40 item, and you're hopefully making $10.
Yeah.
So it's the times 4 formula. Now, if you know you're not a brick and mortar store that's got to keep the lights on all the time, you know you can shimmy that number a little bit,
Right.
and that's where you learn how to fluff it. There's certain things I know, like linen is a much more expensive product for me, so my markup is very minimal, and I don't have squeak room. But when I'm upcycling something, I have the ability to have that markup and be able to work with my clientele a little bit. So. But rule of quarters has always been my way of going about it.
And I think that that's important because I think that sometimes because we have all done this to each other, we'll kind of like fall into a pattern, or we, as creative minds, will make something and we don't love it. And then we'll tend to put a lower price tag on it, and that's a terrible choice because somebody else is gonna love it, and we still need to be paid for our work. But I think, again, just like the theme of collaboration. I love being able to. Tony and I just had this experience yesterday when we were setting up. She's got these beautiful hair clips, which you should all come see and pick me up. We all supporting them. They can also go on hat bands. But it's a new product and she's feeling out pricing, and she's throwing numbers at me, and I'm saying I think it's worth a little more than that. But ultimately at the end of the day, there's that happy medium. You're like, well, I should put this price tag on it. I also would like to sell some of them. So as long as my base formula is not completely off, it's a little bit of give and take. But also, again, sometimes I feel like we get so stuck in what we're making that it's really beneficial. Ginger's got some amazing, we're gonna photograph them in the desert, it's gonna be beautiful. She's got some beautiful prototypes for a new product that we're trying to figure out what's the price point for this. So again, that level of collaboration, like being able to step outside or have somebody else step outside of your box for a minute and be like, I really think you need to charge more for that. Or the other side, it's maybe a little less comfortable, is like, I know there's a lot of work in that, but I think that just seems really high. And again, like, it's that let's support each other. I want to be honest with you.
Right.
You
You
need
need
that.
You need that.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also the discussion of where do you want your business to be? Do you want to be Walmart? Or do you want to be a boutique? Do you want to be a little more of
I'm classy Walmart.
Okay.
Classy Walmart.
I can't help myself. Like I have crafters ADD like hardcore. And I'm like, I'm making this, now I'm making bone stuff. Now I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And
I've
my
seen her
husband's like,
workspace.
you need to pick one. I'm like, but I love it all.
Yeah.
Whoever has the most tools wins.
You need to adapt too. Like I was primarily doing glass for a really, really long time, but then I would do certain shows where glass wouldn't sell.
Right.
And I had to come up with either impulse items or some other kind of
You
art
need to
form.
have a price point. Everybody will buy a $10 item. Like kids got $10 in their pockets. Not to sound greedy, but like you have to have that.
I don't
for-
have one
her
actually.
She does not.
She's working on it. She's working on it.
But yeah, Tony found her niche this year on her, $10 to $20 items. You have to have that small thing for, You know, we were all poor once. We only had little spending money, not, you know, big, nice outfits and deer pelvises. So that you got to keep that in mind too. So like, I can't remember. Tony asked me a question at Ren Fair, and I'm like, well, you need to find your $5 item. Like your stuff is 50 and up. You need that small thing.
Yeah.
And she found that.
We helped with kind of a fundraiser for steampunk, and the most successful thing was a 50-cent fairy bottle.
Yep.
Because the kids could come up and with their own money. I say I love capitalism and personal, but it's like, but the empowering of it, they could buy something, they could take something out, they could buy it, and it's like it was costing her maybe 20 cents.
Right.
If that to make it, because it's just a matter of just pouring a quart and you're done.
Yeah. I had friends selling jar dirt, $5.
And so
That was it. Yeah. The Pirates of the Caribbean was popular right then and there, and she was selling them left and right.
Well, the kid's not going to buy a $200 closet.
Right.
But it makes them
they will one day, and you're establishing relationships with them, and
it's extremely important to create multiple price points, because there are definitely times I have made some pieces and I'm like, oh my god, this is never going to sell. What the heck am
And that's the first thing she sells at the show.
And it is.
I told you.
And it's the craziest feeling, because I do keep like hitcher sets at a price point that is achievable. But then there's the person who's like, well, I've gotten my first 2 starter hitcher sets, and I'm really excited. And they're like, ooh, I want that completely
that
unique,
light up fairy
absolutely,
skirt with
that was awesome. One of a kind silk that the price point for that is in the $350 range. And it's important to have your small items, but don't be afraid to build those big items too, because you're creating a following. You're helping people go through a journey and an adventure to become the character that they want to be, and you want them to be able to step it up a little bit more, and you want to teach them how to do that. I mean, I spend a ton of my time teaching people in general how to dress for their shapes, for their bodies, for we've all come so far, thanks. It's important, because everybody wants to feel pretty. Everybody wants to feel good about themselves. They want to walk away with a smile. And honestly, the biggest thing for me as a vendor is that. I could go home and not make $1 and it's gonna suck, but at the same time, if I send a bunch of people away or a handful of people away with a big smile because I actually tried something on and went, wow, this fits. Okay, I have a goal. I'm gonna work on saving up money to get this at the next event because it's gonna fit and it's gonna last. Anyway, didn't mean to tangent there, kids.
We're getting to the point where we should be finishing up. Sorry, that just flew by. First I was like, what are we going to talk about?
He was trying to squeeze in a question, and we didn't finish answering it. We only got halfway on your original question at the beginning, which was, how did you get to full-time? Short version for me is I worked for my parents half my life, and then I do the SCA. I started making items for friends. They're like, you should sell this full time. So each year I took a little bit of time from the full job and put it into this job. And I've been full time, what do you say, 5, maybe 6 years?
We're about 5, 6 years solid.
Yeah. So, that answers his question.
I was just wondering how many of you have your own private studios that you work, or rent a studio, or are you just working?
So that's a unique question. I think it's different for all of us. I used to have I worked at my closet for the first couple of years. It was ridiculous. I just moved out of my 20 by 30 foot studio that we had revamped in the upper part of my house. And the nice part about doing it in your house is you can actually write off your square footage for taxes. So that's huge, and it also takes a percentage of your oil and electric and all of those things. So there is an advantage to keeping it inside of your house if you can. If you've got the money to go rent a studio, more power to you.
Well, there was a collaboration portion where you in studios with a lot of other artists.
And I share with my dad.
Yeah.
Me and my dad share a workshop. He shares his tools with me. I let him hang out. I keep telling him, I'm like, time for you to go, buddy. I'm like, I need this shelf. Can you get your crap
confine it to one room, but
it's in your home, right?
It's in my
most
home,
office,
and during show season, I take over every flat surface in the house.
Yeah.
No, nothing about that. Mine is also in my home. I would love. I live in the boonies. Like everything is an hour from me. Like even my grocery store. It's cool and sucks at the same time. I would love like what you're describing because there are a couple like in Fredericksburg. There are like artist, collaboration studios, and I love visiting those. I spend a lot of dollars there because I'm weak. But I would love to have a space like that because I feel like that creative energy is amazing and I would love to share that. But it's just, for me, it's not like, I'm not going to commute an hour to work for myself. It's just, it doesn't quite work out. So I love that idea and I would love to someday.
And then that is a form of overhead, which you do have to take into. Right. Now you've got to think about that in your pricing. If you're spending $600 a month on this space, what else can you do with that $600? Can you squeak a space out of your backyard? Can you find, a kid's finally moved out, take him your room. Like, don't come back.
Build a she shed.
Build a she shed. Yeah, I mean, come on, Home Depot, you can literally get a shed
like
for
10 grand.
Yeah, less than 10. Yeah.
We looked at it though.
Sharon got the big one.
Oh, okay.
I let friends come over to the workshop all
Yes.
the time. They'll come over like, I want to build this. I'll help them build that. Or, I want to sew this, or I need to fix my tent, or So.
Right around the summer every year, Costco has like the plastic build-up sheds that you can do.
Yep.
Pretty darn solid.
Yeah.
Costco for the
Yeah.
win.
I would check out one of the sheds at Costco sales because like they're surprisingly really good.
I've actually been known in the summer to put a pop-up tent in the front yard and actually set up my machines outside.
Yeah,
literally just so I can get outside. Because
Yeah.
I'm
I've
up
been doing
to,
that for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm literally up to 10 to 12 hours a day in front of a sewing machine and I need something other than recycled air.
My husband will drag me outside.
Yeah.
I was like, no, what is that?
Glass if I'm carving bone, glass if I'm carving glass.
So technically we're cut off. Hopefully we gave you guys some good information. Thank you for doing that.
But we have business cards up here. We're in the vendor room.
We're in the vendor mall. We're all against the back window where the big walls are. So please come and chat with us.
If you have more questions, we're happy to
Come on
talk
down
shop.
and
All right.
We will talk all day.
Thank you guys.
Could we ask you to get a photo of that for us? That'd be okay.
Thank you for listening to the Creative Play and Podcast Network. And feel free to enjoy our other shows, such as D&D Journey of the 5th Edition, and Scion Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion hero to Ragnarok story. Thank you for listening.